Donald Trump confirmed today, indisputably, unequivocally, that he's inept. He may have been able to con his way into the White House and been able to convince people that he was going to put America first, even though he's consistently using labor abroad and he's making his products abroad. But he convinced Americans that he actually was their hope, that he was going to change the system, he was going to drain the swamp, he was going to make sure that, he put the coal miners back to work, and he was going to build that wall, and he presented himself as this person who was going to be a champion for the common person. So some people voted for him because they felt like he was that champion they were looking for, because the system is corrupt, it's messed up. There is way, way, way too much politics in Washington. So people felt like they weren't actually getting their needs met. So people voted for him. But just because people voted for him does not mean that people like him. And after what he did today, or maybe it'll be yesterday by the time this video is posted, after what he did today, he's going to lose more people supporting him. When you have a 24% of the population believe that the country is going in the right direction, 24%, the last thing you should do is go after women who make up majority of the population. That's the last thing you should do. But he decided to do it today. He basically said today that they will no longer require that employers provide birth control at no cost, basically, to females. So basically, employers can deny covering birth control. Millions upon millions of women use birth control. And the hypocrisy of what they're doing right now is astonishing. What Trump has just done is astonishing. On one hand, they're basically telling women, don't have abortions. If you do have abortion, that's morally reprehensible. This is the wrong thing to do. You're committing murder, etc. That's their theory on one hand. On the other hand, they're basically saying you should not have birth control. So who exactly is this supposed to, what exactly are the options for people now that you're saying this? Are they now supposed to just go have back alley abortions? Are you going to require people to have 700,000 kids because the religious fanatic right wants you to do so? Women get birth control not just because they don't want to have children, also because of a host of other issues. Some of the issues have absolutely nothing to do with having a child in any way. Sometimes it's because of menstrual cramps, etc. If Trump was a smart person, if we could say that he was an adept person, then he would have recognized that going after women would be the last thing you do right now. That is not a smart tactical maneuver. It is irresponsible to do that right now, especially when your approval ratings are in the tank. You have accomplished absolutely nothing. Everything you said on the campaign trail, you have not accomplished. And so going after women is really not because he necessarily thinks that this thing is actually appropriate. One, it's because it was Obama who had mandated this. The second reason why is because he's constantly trying to figure out how to appease his base. He doesn't really understand his base. He understands the climate of the country. At the time that he was running, where people were frustrated with Washington. He understands those kind of things, and he exploited it and took advantage of it. But that does not mean that he's actually a very smart person. This is somebody who is not smart. Going after women is one of those things you do when you're politically suicidal. Because women are people who vote. And women will go to the ballot box and make their voices heard. This is one of those things that backfires. It's not something that even if you are capable of getting a small portion of the population to agree with you, the rest of the population is against you. He didn't just anger women. He also angered men. You think that only women want women to have birth control? Think about all the guys that don't want to have kids or having mistresses, like the Republican Party, who's having mistresses everywhere. Think about all those people. Do you think they don't want women to have birth control? Who is this going to please except for a very small fringe part of the population? It's definitely not going to appease women who make up majority of the population. That's why I'm completely convinced at this time this man is not equipped to be the president of the United States. His positions and the things he does are so erratic. They're always based on what he thinks either will bring him some attention, whether it's negative or great or positive, or what he thinks is financially beneficial to himself and to his family, or what he thinks can cause the most chaos with the American public. This is a man who internally is just chaotic, and he wants the rest of us, our lives, to be chaotic as well. That's why he does a lot of these things, because he wants us to be constantly on edge. But you cannot think that taking away birth control is the answer to somehow unifying people or solidifying some parts of your base. I guarantee you millions of the people that supported Donald Trump are on birth control, or they want their wives or their girlfriends or their mistresses to be on birth control. We all know Republicans are out there having affairs left, right, and center. They can't keep their dick in their pants. We all know that. So why all of a sudden now is he gonna pretend as though his group, the people that he supports, his party is opposed to this? Which they obviously are, because they're not saying anything, but we also know they're cowards, so that could also be the reason. But women are going to make their voices heard at the ballot box. 2018 is going to be a horrific year for the Republicans. And 2018 is going to be even worse for Donald Trump. You think he's just going to be able to take away birth control and no one's going to do anything? Nah. That's why I am confident that Trump is completely and utterly inept.